this computer. All right, so we are live and well, and it's January, I believe, 4th, 2022. And you know, tomorrow will be December 31st, 2022, because that's how fast our planet is moving right now. But man, oh man, I am looking forward to a brand new 2022. I hope everybody else is excited to start all over again fresh. And my biggest dream is for health for me and health for everyone. And so I want to introduce Sean. Hold on, I'm going to spotlight me and I'm going to spotlight Sean. Here's Sean. And I want to give you a little introduction. And Sean, I'm going to keep this light tonight because if I don't, we're going to both be in trouble.
I think that's a good idea.
Really in trouble. So this is the first call in 20 years that I've ever done, the first call of the year without Chris. And it's probably the first call I've ever done with Sean without Chris. But what I want to tell you is if you looked up Sean Myers in Chris's phone book, you wouldn't find it because he's Sean Medires. Because the first time he entered his number, he spelled the name wrong. And so we've been calling Sean in our house, Sean Medires, since forever. And one of the things that I can say about Sean and Jennifer is that they have been a lifeline for both Chris and I. Oh, you know what? I didn't mute everybody out. Hang on one second. Sorry for that. Participants.
I know what you're here about.
Mute all.
Has to be known.
There we go. Everybody's muted. Haven't done this in a while. They have really been a lifeline for Chris and I for as long as I can remember being in the business, in the transition between water and Juice Plus. And in the last few months, when I have needed urgent healings or urgent support, or just to really let down, Sean and Jennifer have really been there for me. They're Founders Awards members, and they have given back so much to the company, not just with their team, but that's how you get to be a founders member. It's not just what you do for your team, it's what you do for your whole company. And whenever I've needed serious counsel, I've gone to Jennifer on some things and to Sean on others. And I could not have more love and respect and pure appreciation for these two. So with that said, Sean, I leave you.
Yeah, thanks for that.
But I did pretty good. I think I did really good. I leave you with you telling us, how do we get to a good 2022? We've been in fear and all in disruption and disconnection for so long, and now to come back together. And I'm just, whatever you have to say, I hope you guys have your pens and paper out and you're taking some serious notes.
Well, thank you, Nikki. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, we've all come through. Wow, what a crazy year. 2 years, really. It's just incredible. The amount of change, the amount of disruption that all of our lives have taken on. But here we are. We're at what I consider the most valuable time for me each year. And it is the beginning of a new year and the ending of another year. It's like a marker in time that's already built in for us. And I get really excited every year this time of year because I actually do something. And for the people that have heard me speak before, you've probably heard me talk about my 6-month goal planning, that our life has been pulled by this idea that every 6 months we sit down and come up with a game plan of what we want to have happen in our life. And, you know, when I think back this last year, I can think about all sorts of things that I wish wouldn't have happened. I wish would have happened different, things that maybe I had no control over and things that I did have some control over, how I would have reacted, how I would have done things differently. And those are all worthwhile things. You know, we're all sitting here on this call with a certain set of circumstances that we share and a certain set of circumstances that are unique to each one of us, that we all have, you know, individual things that we've got to work through, we've got to work on, and we've got to overcome. But the beginning of a new year gives me every single year that one idea that I always try to focus on. And that one idea is, and if I'm giving this to you tonight, that literally this comes from my heart. This is how I frame it every single year. How do I make this year the best year I've ever had? Now, when you look back at the circumstances of this last year, you think, how could that even be possible? How could it even be possible to make this year the best year I've ever had, the best year you've ever had? How could you pull that off? Well, first of all, it takes some thinking, right? It takes some thinking. You've got to be able to take, in a lot of people's circumstances, especially on this call, some really, really difficult circumstances and say, you know what, I'm going to set those aside and I'm going to focus on something other than what's wrong. I'm going to focus on something that's possible. I'm going to focus on something that is, you know, maybe a dream and maybe something even beyond anything I've ever thought about before. You know, I'm going to go through some ideas tonight that maybe can get you thinking, maybe can get you moving, and maybe can get you down a direction that this really could be the best year you've ever had. Now, I know, and once again, I'm going to say it again. Why wouldn't it be the best year you've ever had? And I'll tell you the opposite of that. The opposite of that is it's not going to be the best year I've ever had. It's going to be a crappy year, and I have all the reasons why, right? I can tell you why it's going to be a crappy year because this is what just happened, and it's going to be a crappy year. Like Jim Rohn always says, I wouldn't sign up for that class. I wouldn't sign up for that class. I wouldn't sign up for repeating what's wrong in your head. I wouldn't sign up for planning anything from a place of lack. I would sign up for the class that this is going to be the best year I've ever had. Not in spite of what happened, but because of what happened. Because I got resilience, I got lessons, I got things I can grow from. And I'm going to give you some examples of that. So for the people that haven't heard me talk before about my 6-month goal planning session, I do it every 6 months. It happens at the beginning of the year and the middle of the year. And it comes from a place that I want my life and my goals to pull me. I've always come from that spot where if I'm not enthusiastic about my life, if I don't jump out of bed in the morning and want to go for something, it's my goals' fault. I don't have good goals. I don't have something inspiring. I don't have something to go for. In fact, I've framed it over the last probably 15 years as I don't have something to give. That's really what it comes down to, because what you get in life is what you are willing to give. What you get in life is what you're willing to get out of your own way and your own vision and get into somebody else's life and their vision and give to them. That's where you get everything in life. That's where all the best stuff comes from. It comes from giving. But you've got to get out of what you are doing to yourself to get into that giving mode. So I'm going to give you some ideas tonight. I start out my goal planning session with what's my connection with my creator. I feel like if I don't have a great connection with my creator, I'm not in a position of strength. I'm not dealing from a position of strength. So what am I going to do to make that better? And every single year, every single goal planning session, every single day, I come to this with an idea that I know is true. And that idea is nothing ever stays the same. Nothing stays the same. You don't get to a place in life. You are always going someplace in life. You don't get somewhere and say, now I've got it. Everything's going to be stable. Everything's going to be perfect now. No, you're always going somewhere in life. So I know that what I want to have happen in my life, I need to focus on. The things that I want to take place, I've got to focus on those things. You don't get what you want in life. You get what you focus on. You don't get what you want in life. You get what you schedule. Those ideas are ingrained in my head. So I go about it just like that. I say, what's my relationship with my creator? What's going to make it better? Because I know if I don't put attention, it's going to get worse. What's my relationship with my wife is my number 2. And if I don't actually put time and focus in the game, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. What am I going to do? And I write them down. This is my little goal planning sheet. I mean, I still do it on a legal pad, and these are my little pages that I go through each year, twice a year, that I want this to inspire me. That's what everybody on this call needs. They need something that they get out of bed in the morning and they go, wow, there's my opportunity to go. There's my opportunity to give. There's my opportunity to contribute. There's my opportunity to achieve. There's my opportunity to be an example. There's my opportunity to actually do something that makes a difference beyond my own little brain that wants to hold me in the past. Right? And that's where this piece of paper gets me going. So I'm going to do these certain things with my wife. I'm not going to tell you all of them because some of these are private. And then I go through and I go with each one of my kids. My daughter, Michaela, what am I going to do? And, she's not on here tonight, so I can actually tell you guys, I do this every 6 months. And I said, I need to have a little Hawaiian prayer that I do, the ho, open, 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 no. I don't think I said that right. I want to do that every day with her, right? I'm doing that with both my kids. And over the next few months, I want to write 3 really cool letters to her about how awesome she is in life. And, that gets me all fired up. It gets me going. It gets me emotional. It gets my energy in motion. That's what emotion is. And if you are writing these things down and they don't get your energy in motion, I say keep working on it. Keep working on it until you get something that gets you going, that gets you excited, that's worthwhile, right? And then I go through each one of my kids, and I've got some other things I want to do with each kid. So I divide Jake and Michaela up. They're very specific in what I'm doing with each one of them. And then I've got my Juice Plus business and all the things that I want to do in my Juice Plus business. And then last year we decided we wanted to have more fun in our life. What's that going to mean to me? It means ocean. So we're building a house in Florida, and we got a boat to go with it, and we're going to have all these incredible adventures with all of our friends, and I'm designing the whole thing just like it's happening today, right? Just like it's going to be real tomorrow. I know it's going to take time, but that's what I'm designing there. Then I've got some of my investments, I've got my charities, I've got my fun, I've got all that stuff, and I take the time to actually spend time. And it usually takes a few weeks, and then I coalesce it right around this time. I did this on the 1st, and I say, okay, this is what I'm into this year. This is what I'm into this 6 months. And then I evaluate it, and if it doesn't get me excited, if I don't do anything about it in the next 6 months, I might leave something on there for two 6-month periods. I didn't do anything. But if I don't do anything about this for the next 6 months after that, I take it off. Why? Why? It's maybe important. It's maybe cool. You know why? Because it doesn't get me excited. It doesn't get me out of bed. It doesn't get me into contribution. It doesn't get me moving. So I'm just going to give you some topics that you guys can work on. And if you'll just spend some time doing this, it can become the most addictive thing you do, because it gets you out of where you were and out of this spot that you're stuck. And it gets you into what's possible. Why couldn't this be the best year you've ever had in your life? And the topics are easy. My health. What am I going to do about my health? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Right? What are you going to do about your health? Don't you think you ought to do something about your health, right? What am I going to do about my family relationships? What am I going to do about my friend relationships? What am I going to do about my finances, my savings, my investments, my fun, my focus? What distractions am I going to eliminate? What am I going to move over here so that I can move something else in? All of that conversation in your head starts to get the possibility thing flowing in you. And once you start getting possibilities flowing, you want to write those things down and then bring your focus to them. You get what you focus on in life. So if you want to have more, you got to give more, right? And I always kind of reframe that. What do I want? Okay, well, what do I have the opportunity to give to get what I want? What do I have the opportunity to give? And so I reframe every single thing into a giving conversation, because that gets me more excited than getting. But if getting gets you excited, put it in a getting conversation, whatever will get you moving. But for me, it's like, if I want to have a better attitude, how do I give a better attitude? If I want to have more caring, how do I give more caring? Listening, storytelling, presenting, fun, consistency. How do I get more? If I want to be more organized, how do I present more organization to my team, to my family, to my loved ones? If I want to be more knowledgeable, what am I reading? What am I putting in? What is the information I'm accepting? If I want to be more healthy, what am I doing? And you've heard about goals for a long, long time, that you want them to be, you've heard SMART goals, I'm sure. You want to be specific, measurable, attainable, right? You want to have these really specific ideas of what you want. I will tell you this, all of that is true. Everything you've ever learned about goal planning is true. But the one thing that I know is the most true about goal planning, and the most true about you having the best year you've ever had, is if you'll work on it long enough to get the emotion going about it, and then it actually means something to you, take it and put a plan together from it. Get it in your schedule. Get it. And if your goal is to reach this next position in the company, if your goal is to be a national marketing director, or a qualifying national marketing director, or a senior sales coordinator, or just get some new team members, what's it going to take to make that happen? We had a gal this morning on one of our calls that last night, she won $1,000, and she won our contest on how many brand new shake customers could you get in the month of December. And she talked to 76 people. She'd never done that before in a month. She talked to 76 people. She got 10 brand new shake orders. But more than that, she's already got 4 people she was ready to put in today that are 4 quad orders because of all of the action. It's like people said, well, I don't really like shakes, but I've been watching you for a long time and I'm ready to get on the product. And so that idea of, she talked to 76 people in 1 month. I don't think she talked to 76 people last year. I don't think she did. And all of a sudden now she had a goal, she had a need. She had a health situation in her family that she needed to help out with, and that $1,000 was a target, and she went after it. Every person on here can have something they don't think they currently have if they focus on it. And once again, the fun, the juice, the excitement, everything comes from actually putting yourself out there and making a difference and making something happen. So, let's just take stock of where we are too, because, this is the beginning of a new year, but we're not with a brand new idea. We've got a 50-plus-year-old company with the very best product, with the very best systems, with the very best loving leadership, with the very best support structures, with a freedom revolution that it's plug and play. You can do it anywhere on the planet if you'll just plug into what we've got. So what's the excuse for you, right? I mean, why wouldn't you win? Why wouldn't this be your best year ever? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because you're comfortable. That's why. That's the only reason it might not be your best year ever. You're comfortable. You're comfortable where you are. Oh, that sounds really great, Sean. Boy, isn't he cute? He just really gets all fired up and gets excited. But let me tell you about comfortable. Comfortable is the place of worry. Comfortable is the place of the heavy chains. Comfortable is the place where you're not giving. Comfortable is the place where you're closed in. Comfortable is the place of just about every word you can say that's the opposite of happiness. Because happiness comes from growing. Happiness comes from creating. Happiness comes from doing and being more than you currently are. That's why at any moment in time, and it's so cool in our business, we can draw a line in the sand and say, that was yesterday, this is today. I got a different attitude. I got a different thinking. I've got a different enthusiasm. I've got different goals. I've got a different sheet of stuff. And you know what? I don't care about all the other things that are wrong. I'm going to go after it. I'm going to go do this. It reminds me of a story that it's in Jennifer and I's vernacular, as I am Sean, me, or Wires, or whatever I am for you guys. We all have things that we've heard and things that we've seen in videos and movies that they become a moniker inside of our family, right? You don't even have to say what it is. Chris Cotton and I, it was literally a punchline a second. And so one of the things that happened for us a long time ago, the story got into Jennifer and I's vernacular, and we use it all the time. So I'm going to give it to you It's a very simple story. I'm sure almost everybody on here has heard it a dozen times. If you haven't, it's yours. So there's this massive storm, and it came onto the beach in this area down south, and it was overnight storm. And in the morning, as far as you can see, there were starfish pushed up on the beach, and they were all tossed all over the place, and there was mounds of them, and they went literally for miles. And this little boy went out in the morning, and he was walking down the beach, and he's picking up these starfish, and he's throwing them in the water, and he's picking up a starfish, and he's throwing them in the water. And after a little while, this older man came out, and he looked up and down the beach, and he said, oh, he was just horrified. It absolutely broke his heart to see these starfish for as far as he could see. He figured it probably went miles, and all these starfish were going to die. And he was just heartbroken. And he noticed out of the corner of his eye this little boy who was picking up a starfish and throwing them back in the water. And he walked up to him and he said, what are you doing? He goes, I'm saving the starfish. He goes, saving the starfish? He goes, it's like miles of dead starfish. He goes, what difference could you possibly make? And he goes, made a difference in that one right there. And that is it for us. Made a difference in that one. Everything you do on your goal planning sheet is one moment at a time. It's one conversation at a time. And it doesn't take an amazing conversation. It just takes a little extra caring. It takes a little extra do. It takes a little extra discipline. It takes a little extra muscle to actually do it when it's just as easy or easier not to do it. And so that's what makes the best year ever. And I'll tell you what, the best year ever comes because you feel so good about whatever it is you're doing. It's not because of what you get. It's how good you feel about the fact that you got out of complacency and comfort and went out with the idea that you're going to make a difference. And we have that built in. I mean, we don't just go to work. Everybody that we touch with Juice Plus, we never know what we're going to help them with in their health. We don't know where their health journey is or where it's leading. We know that 70% of the population is going to die of cancer, stroke, and heart disease, and we can impact that by just one conversation about Juice Plus. We also know that if people get excited about being an entrepreneur, it's going to transform their life. If they get into our community, it has the ability to transform their life. If they get associated with us, some people just touch us and it's like everything in their life starts going. How many people in here have recruited somebody whose life completely sucked? And they came over here and they spent about 4 or 5 months with us and they went, I love what you're doing here, but my life is on fire now. Because it was their thinking that sucked. It wasn't their life. And all of a sudden their thinking got changed over here and it changed everything about them. It changed everything about their other business. It changed everything about their family. It changed everything about the energy in their home. Pretty soon the dog's doing better. They're not even kicking the dog. The dog won, right? So the whole idea here is it's a catalyst for you. This goal planning session is a catalyst for you to get moving. And it's so exciting right now. You cannot believe the fertile ground it is. Of course you can believe it. There's never been a time like this. We have something called the Great Resignation. You guys heard about this? All these people are resigning. Why are they resigning? Because they don't want to go back to a job that sucks. They don't want to go back to a life that doesn't make a difference. They don't want to go back to some place where they've got no goals, they've got no dreams, they've got no vision. You are the best thing that's going to happen to everybody you talk to in 2022. You are the shining light that can give people vision, possibility, and real results. You are that person. You are the person that gets to pick them up and toss them back in the ocean and get them off from dying on the beach. Guys, people are resigning from their jobs and they don't even know what they're going to do. They just know they don't want it to be like it was. They're waiting for us. They're waiting for us to come out and give them the good news about what we have, which is a system that absolutely works. It's going to take some new habits. It's going to take some new muscles. You know, it's going to take some new energy. But let me tell you, it's so worth it, because if you're in complacency and you're in comfort, it's not where your happiness comes from. It's just not. And a lot of people, they mistake comfort and security and a situation that's safe. They mistake that for I've achieved. That's not it. That's not the way it works. It's not where the juice, it's not where the fun, it's not where it all comes from. And you know what? You'll never have the best year you've ever had if you don't get out there and create something new. The best year you've ever had is how I started this call. It's an opportunity for every single person on here to have it. You don't get what you want, you get what you focus on, you get what you schedule, and you know the tools, all the things. We could go through all that stuff tonight, but you guys know that stuff. And if you don't know that stuff and you're new, you've got a whole team of leaders here that absolutely know what to do, how to do it, where to go, and they will help you make it happen. This business is like it's such a loving, supportive, and most importantly, resilient place for you to do well and do bad, to do some things that you want to do and make mistakes, because it's just like a big loving embrace. Everybody is going in the same direction. It's built into our marketing plan. You know, we flip that corporate pyramid where the higher you go, the tighter it gets, right? You know, you go up in a normal organization and there's only so much room at the top, and it gets to be more of a kind of a passive aggressive situation. I want the people to do well underneath me, but not too well because they take my spot. We flipped it upside down, and there's nobody in this business that does well unless you do well. You can't do well unless all your people do well. It's built into the whole system to be loving, supporting, and connected. So you're the resource. You're the one, right? You know, it starts with you. Start going out and making some starfish difference. And I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight. You guys are an awesome team. And I know it looks like everything is horrible right now in some people's lives, but it only takes a possibility thinking mindset to change that, and you will absolutely get enthusiasm from your actions. If you'll go out and get into activity and get into movement, it'll get everything moving. It'll get your energy moving. It'll get your exchange moving with other people, and people are out there literally waiting for you to make their day. They are. Love you guys.
Wow. Before we leave, first of all, does anybody who hasn't seen Sean today, who kind of blew their minds, like his energy, how he doesn't have a script? Anybody have any kind of comment they want to make or like to thank Sean? Speak up. Now's the time. Sean.
I just want to say thank you so much, Sean. This is Heidi here. I thought I was set for the year with my goals until listening to you. And now I have a little bit more work to do. And I just want to thank you for that, because it's going to really solidify some big goals and dreams that I have and that my husband has, who's also on the call too. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Heidi. Anybody
This
else?
is Patty, and I saw you were my first speaker I saw in Reno, Nevada with Pint and Jack Beetle, and you always inspire me, and tonight just knocked it out of the park. That was just amazing. I never get tired. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, at that time she was a sales coordinator. Now she's a QNMD.
Yay.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, it's Sandy. Go ahead, Debbie.
Okay.
Debbie's a new grandma. You go ahead.
Well, for the third time, but I'm still excited. Sean, I just love your energy. I mean, you bring it every time. And it doesn't matter how many times I've seen you. It just still gets to me, and I love it.
Love you too.
Sandy?
Yes, just thank you so much, Sean. I do. I look forward to your new year. We need to book you for the next 10 years for our New Year's call. Because I do. It does. It inspires me. It energizes me. And for those who haven't heard you, though, I have one request. And you have to do your SHOWTIME.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It's when you did it the first time, it changed my whole perspective, because being an introvert and making calls, back then we made calls, I just needed that. And that just totally shifted me. Thank you again so much. Love you.
Oh, I love you too.
You don't have to do the splits, Sean, but you
Yeah,
can.
you know, I don't know that I can really jump up and do a backflip in here.
No, you don't even have to do that. But what is Showtime? How did you get yourself going?
Well, you know, Showtime is something that a long time ago, I just realized that we're a part-time business, and as a part-time business, we all have all these different things going on in our life, and those things that we have going on in our life all have to get put on hold, like a record player stopping when it's time to do our business, right? And it doesn't matter what it is in your life, there's distractions, right? There's distractions all over the place. And we've got to be able to take those distractions, put those aside and say, it's time to get on the phone. It's showtime, right? It's time to make something happen. And so I learned a long time ago that it's a challenge to actually just change your mind, right? Just to go from, I was going down this road and now all of a sudden I'm going to be over here and I'm Juice Plus girl now. I'm Juice Plus boy now. I'm going to go make this happen, even though I was doing all this just a few minutes ago, right? And so the way that I figured out that it was the best way to actually change my mind was to change my physiology, was to actually change how I am, literally how I am. And I literally do a big jump around and I go, hit the ground and I go, it's showtime. And I don't know if I just blew up the whole thing or not, but everything moved around. And I give that to myself in an enthusiastic way. And I got to be honest with you. I don't just wake up like this every day, right? I don't just wake up. I've got to throw myself in to a showtime mode. And I had to do it last night. Last night we had our kickoff call, right? Monday night for the new year. And it's showtime for Sean. And I wasn't feeling it. I did my goals and, you know, I got a little goobered in my chest and I was, you know, a little is going on. And I had this go on, I had that go on. And somebody called me and they chewed me out for something I didn't even do. And it was going, and I was like, you know what? Showtime is on and I got to deliver. I got to make it happen. And everybody has different versions of Showtime that they do. Everybody has different little things they do. I could go on story after story where people come up and going, you know, I don't really jump around like you do, but I do this. And I did this time and it made me actually get into focusing on what it is that I want. Another thing you can do if getting the energy moving and the physiology isn't your thing, which I like that because it just immediately charges you up, is you can do breathing. And we do this, we do a Tuesday mornings, we do something called Plugged In with our team. And we start it with box breathing. The SEALs do it when they're actually on a mission. And they teach these Olympic athletes to do this, where you actually are breathing 4 in, 4 out, and you do it in a box. So in 1, 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, and I'm doing that fast. But if you'll do 2, 3 cycles around, it will calm everything down. It will allow you to focus in and bring to your attention what you want to focus on versus having the distractions move you from thing to thing to thing. But for me, it's showtime. It works for me.
So we're going to wrap this up because we normally do, but I have an idea tonight that I think would be really fun to do. And so first of all, remind you, 7 o'clock, Kristen Finley is doing her amazing talk. Kristen, what's the name of it?
It's called So You Want to Start a Health Journey.
At perfect time for the beginning of the year. So if you didn't plan on getting on it, you'll definitely want to watch recording and sharing it with people. I want to plug that for tonight at 7, but I want everybody to unmute themselves. And at the count of 3, which I'll count, I want everybody to yell showtime. So everybody unmute themselves. Are you ready? And I'm going to count it. 1, 2, 3.
Showtime! Showtime!
Good night, everybody. Thanks for the call, Sean.
Awesome job,
Love you
Sean.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.